What would Season 1 look like if the Duffers didn't have drastic budget costs? What did it take to create one of the most expensive CGI effects? And how significantly have the Stranger Kids' salaries grown throughout the seasons? Hi, I'm Clive. Let's start from the very beginning. Season 1 could have been very different. Back in 2015, the creators of Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers, created a whole new world on paper, and Netflix liked their ideas. But they didn't want to give the Duffer Brothers the budget they wanted for Season 1. That's why the first season faced a lot of limitations in production. For example, the creepy look of the Upside Down was created without using any green screens or big visual effects. The only two things that were used were ash and fog. As simple as that! I don't want to put people in front of green screens, Ross Duffer told Business Insider. Because first of all, we can't afford it, and second of all, even if we could, I just think it's going to ruin the immersion. Jumping ahead, I'll say that that's not a 100% honest answer, but we'll get to that soon. Ross explained that he always liked things that are grounded in reality, and that the budget limitations they had worked in their favor. When you really boil it down, it's ash and fog. It's a very sort of simple aesthetic. Another example is about creating Eleven's vision of the void. How do you create a mysterious, dark place without any CGI and hardly any budget? It's just an inch of water on the ground, and then we just hung up black curtains, and suddenly we're in Eleven's head, said Ross. It's cool how you can achieve something that we think is such a big idea so simply. Indeed, pure genius. And if you think that the famous Stranger Things intro was made so minimalistic because of some cool dramatic plan, then think again. Yes, it was all about the lack of money. But you can't disagree that the intro looks awesome. Sometimes simplicity is better. The Duffer Brothers even had to change the place where all the Stranger events took place. Originally, the events were set in Montauk. Jaws is the brothers' favorite movie of all time, so they like this sort of coastal setting. But again, for production reasons, it started to look more and more unfeasible. That's why the Stranger characters moved to Hawkins. This town doesn't exist in the real world, but creating it was way cheaper than setting up in a coastal town, like the one from Jaws. Now let's talk about some numbers. Netflix did their best to hide most of the details regarding the budget, but we managed to find something for you. According to Wired, in order to create the 80s, the prop master Linda Rice was able to get all the props for the whole season for just $220,000. That's almost nothing for an 8-hour feature. The veteran prop master Linda searched Georgia flea markets, estate sales, prop rentals, and of course, eBay to get the 80s spirit on the set of Stranger Things. So, to sum up, how expensive was the production of Season 1 in total? According to Variety, each episode cost $6 million, and as there were 8 episodes, the total price of Season 1 was $48 million, which is actually not that bad at all, especially for a sci-fi series. Of course, there are always series like The Crown that has a tremendous budget of $130 million per season. But hey, this was only the beginning for Stranger Things. They needed more money for Season 2. What do you think? How expensive was the second season compared to the first one? Double the original budget? Triple? Because things looked much more massive and epic there, right? It had more CGI, more monsters, more characters, more everything. But the thing is, the second season was only supposed to be 20% more expensive than the first one. Sounds unbelievable? That's what the producers confirmed in their interview to Collider.
But I mean, you've seen it, so I think you'd agree it looks way more than 20% bigger.
Well, okay. But as it was later reported, the second season came up a bit more expensive than that. There were 9 episodes with a total budget of around $72 million. Luckily, the Duffer Brothers could go wilder this time. And despite the fact that they said they loved practical visual effects, with more money in their pockets, the Duffer Brothers didn't hesitate to use a hell of a lot of CGI in Season 2. The VFX team went all in, creating the Upside Down. They scanned the sets and reconstructed them in 3D so they could manipulate the special effects and the camera's movements on their computers. We're looking at it like a parallel universe, basically, the VFX producer Paul Graff told Vulture. You have these 2 parallel worlds, and then you can put things into the CG world, and it's just going to line up with the parallel world. You might remember the tiny flying things in the Upside Down, those that the Duffer Brothers call the spores. Well, in the first season, the spores were created with ashes. while in the second season, with more money at their disposal, the brothers couldn't resist using CGI. Sounds like money changed the Duffer Brothers' attitude to VFX. Jokes aside, they tried to get practical spores, but the spores wouldn't always work properly. And the kid actors weren't super excited about spending a whole day with all of these flakes flying around. So I would say 90% of the spores you see in the show are digital spores, maybe even 98%. Thanks for being that specific, Mr. Graff. What else was created with the help of CGI? The shadow monster, obviously, because how would you create it practically, right? Same goes with the season finale. And, most unexpectedly with Eleven's buzz cut. What? Why would they use CGI to make Eleven bald? In case you didn't know, Millie Bobby Brown agreed to shave her head for the first season. But in the second season, Eleven's hair had started to grow out. And when the story needed some flashbacks with bald Eleven, the showrunners faced a dilemma. Should they cut Millie Bobby Brown's hair again? Or not? Nobody felt like it was a good idea, Paul Graff said. We experimented with the wig, and the wig added too much volume to her hair, because you have to get her hair, and then you have to have base, and then a cap, and then the wig. Sounds crazy. That's why everybody felt that it was better to just go full digital with the hair. Luckily, they had their budget increase for that. But do you know what? Both Netflix and the Duffer Brothers should have thanked the cast that they didn't ask for a pay raise in season 2. According to Hollywood Reporter, the Stranger Kids were making around $20,000 per episode, while Winona Ryder made $100,000 and David Harbour $80,000. Though these amounts changed drastically in season 3. Insane cast salary increases. At this point, things became absolutely clear. There's no way a 20% or 30% increase would do the job for Netflix, because all the kid actors and actresses asked for enormous pay raises. Just guess how much? Double? 4 times? 5 times? Nope. How about 12 times? Yes, according to Hollywood Reporter, the Stranger Kids earned $250,000 per episode. Jeez, that's more than an average person makes per year. Though prices were different for the cast. It's been said that actors like Natalia Dyer and Charlie Heaton collected $150,000 for each episode, because their characters had less screen time than Gaten Matarazzo or Finn Wolfhard, for example. What we also know is that Winona Ryder and David Harbour got their salaries increased to $350,000 per episode, remaining the most paid actors in the cast. Though it still remains unclear how much Millie Bobby Brown collected. Some sources say that Millie is somewhere in between the adult actors and her younger castmates. But the cast salaries weren't the most expensive part of the season 3 production. CGI was. And there was a lot of heavy CGI. We'll give you the biggest example. If you ever wondered how the Mind Flayer was created, then you should know that the horrible monster looked like this on set. Yep, like a giant beach ball on the end of a stick. The ball was used as the focus point for the Mind Flayer's mouth, and sometimes the Mind Flayer looked like a weird man in a red suit with a mirrored helmet. This video may look super funny, but the truth is that it's one of the best ways to create a scene like this nowadays. The mirrored helmet helped to track the head of the monster, because in that scene the lights were flickering, so the helmet was an easy object to separate in post-production. Smart, right? Here's some computer magic that was created afterwards. And what about season 4? How big is its budget gonna be? For now, it's a complete mystery. What we know from the Duffer Brothers is that the 4th season's gonna feel very different. Whatever that means. And just recently, Gaten Matarazzo teased fans, saying, I think most would probably say it's the scariest season out of the previous 3, which I love because it's very fun to film. One thing is for sure, season 4's budget is the biggest so far, which gives us hope that it will be the coolest, strangest adventure yet. Hey, do you want to know how the Stranger Things series looks without CGI? Check out another video on our channel. Telling ya, it's worth it. Thank you, and have an awesome day.